around the board that there are various kind of areas of Glossop which have been kind of created as part of the game, but also there are some pictures that were created yesterday in the same process as you have just done, so thinking of a place that was important to you. So it's a really nice way to start this performance activity by contributing your ideas, going through that process and trying to find somewhere that is important to you personally. And it's not the easiest thing to do. You have to kind of dig things out. Some people have instant ideas. But we're going to be creating now our own game of Glossopoly. We don't quite know what the name of this community will be, but our first task is to actually kind of discover what makes the community. We're going to do that not by standing and talking, but we're going to play a little bit of a game. Juliana, you can move over there. Andy, can you move those dice just behind you? And everybody, just like in real life, beware of any potential catastrophes. So, engaging with communities is not a spectator sport. It's something that you have to get up and do. And so we're going to play a very first game. As you can see, I'm stuck in the middle, and I have all of these different areas I can go to. And the way we're going to move around is that whoever ends up in the middle and is the last person to cross this community and can get to the other side has to say a statement, anyone who. And you have to make a true statement about yourself. It can be really easy, like anyone who has a head. And if you happen to have a head, then you have to move, you cannot stay. And because we've got these four quarters, you need to move across the board. So you cannot just kind of whiz here and then kind of move over to there, or just kind of hop along the board like this. You have to at least go diagonally or across. And the best way to do this is to play. So, anyone who has got thumbs, go. Right.
Anyone who anyone who has green eyes. Mine green.
I'm picking you later.
No!
Oh, yeah, you're in the middle. Am I? Yeah. Because you didn't actually get to the edge.
Oh, okay, so I thought it was just a general thing. Okay.
Okay, off you go.
It does have to apply to me, does
It
it?
has to be the truth about you, so you can't say anyone who's a man.
Okay. Anyone who's wearing a t-shirt.
You hop round that community fast style.
Anyone who's wearing socks.
Andy, now you see what happens when a community gets a little bit overcrowded. This is a little bit of kind of.
Okay, anyone who is wearing a watch.
Anyone who has a sister. Anyone who has the letter A in their name.
Anybody who has a twin. Anyone who supports Liverpool Football Club.
I can't think of any true statements about myself.
Do you speak more than one language?
Anybody who speaks Welsh.
has two brothers.
Andy! One more time.
Fair enough. All right. Anyone who's been on the bus this morning?
You've confused me there. Right. Anybody who drank coffee today?
You know.
Right. Okay, so that's just a little. We'll stop this, Juliana, so you can have a little bit of a break. But the game is a very, very quick, nice, energetic, animating game, which allows us to recognise that at different points we're connected to people for different reasons. So we've just played in quite a light way, but actually if you were playing this game in a community, you could start to ask different kinds of questions from the middle, and people would see actually how they were connected. And what the beauty of this game is that you can simultaneously be the same as somebody else, but also different from that same person that you were the same as. And so it gives an idea that a community doesn't have to be a constant thing which fixes you in one time or one place or with only one group of people. So with that in mind, we're going to play one more little game about kind of how communities are created, and then we're going to start actually kind of creating our own ideas of community and what they mean to us. So we're going to go for a walk around Glossop. So I want you all to be having a walk. When I shout stop, I'm going to say get into groups of, and you have to work out who you can get into a group with. Okay, so trip around Glossopoly now. Have a good look at what's going on around the place. Stop. Get into groups of people whose birthday is in the same month as your birthday. Go. So, freeze and really kind of huddle with your monthly community. Oh dear. Are you on your own? Okay. Who are you? Are you August? Are there any other Augustians? January. No Januaries. You are unique. That's it. January all by yourself. March. Have we got February anywhere? No February. It's March. So, January and March, ambassadors for those months, so that's good. March, April. So April is absent in this little birthday community. May, June, July, August. Oh, an August and a Julian. August, September.
Yay!
October. Wow. October is well represented. You are the dominant group at the moment. October, November. Absent. December.
Hello.
Okay. So we have a few single ones, some absent communities, and some that are most overwhelming. Right, we're going to walk around Glossopoly again. Have a see what you can spot there. And stop! Get into groups of people who have the same size shoes as you. Go.
I'm the biggest one,
Right, freeze. So, Ola, you were by yourself this time. Oh, I think because you were using European numbers as well, weren't you, as opposed to all the welcoming. Yeah. So, who's the biggest group? Can you really kind of, bless you. So there's 5, and what number are you?
6.
Although we're accommodating half sizes or something.
Oh, okay, what about you?
3.5? Yeah, 3.5 for work. I think that it is 5. 3.5.
Oh, okay, that's good. So you found you've edged your way into the community here. What about you?
I have 40, so 7.
7? 7?
I'm 6.5, 7, so we could
So you could actually join up, couldn't you?
Yeah.
And what about you?
8.
So we'll take one.
All right, so
I'll take it.
there you go. So she's like shoeless.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. What about you?
We have 40, 12, 4, 5.
4, 5.
So it's 27, 8.
So you had to make a little bit more choice about actually quite where you fitted. And Ola, when you were going around, I was just sort of to go all to a little place by yourself. So again, when we're playing this game, we can think about how easy or difficult is it for somebody to become part of an already formed community, and how can that community be more welcoming, more accommodating, and kind of go, well, doesn't matter that you might be a 40. We don't care, come and be part of us. So again, it's a simple little game, but it is about random ways in which communities can actually group together and form. Right, one last time. And travel around Glossop. And freeze. This time, get into groups with people who have the same coloured eyes as you have, and then get onto a board which represents it. 3, 2, 1, go! So find an area on the board. Find a card which is the same colour as your eyes.
Man apart, darling, man apart. Very nice. Oh, look. We're in the green area. Are we in the process? Lovely day. Well, I don't think we should check that.
Your balloons here. So, we have groups that are formulated live. So we have the greens over here. And we have the blues here. The browns. And we are definitely the biggest community now.
Oh, you get on first blue square then.
As far as we're concerned, I've got a Crystal Gale song in my head now. You make my brown eyes blue. So we're going to work in these groups. I'm going to, because the browns are so kind of overwhelmingly big, I'm going to ask a couple of brown eyes to come and join with the other groups. But also we need to, I think we'll work in 3 groups now, and we need to make sure that there is a new big person in each group. Okay? So actually, Pippa, can you come on to the browns? Can I ask, say, Andy, and sorry, what's your name? Sitara, to go and join with the greens. So we've got a little 4 here. Oh, 5. A 5, a 4 and a 4. Your very, very, very first task is that you have to go to a table with a cone upon it. So this table here, the green-brown group can go to. You have to make a token that you can use on the board. And this token has to represent your newly formed community. So, it's there behind you. So, in your group, you have to make a decision why are you using, what are you call our newly formed community, and create a token. While with the code, but also dress somebody up. There are various things around the room which you can use, so you've literally got 2 minutes to do this. And name your newly formed community, a token, and to dress personal who will be your representative. So, are you ready? Stand your space. Right. This is all very it's happening, isn't it?
Perhaps we can stick this.
Here we go.
Yes, we get to the cone.
Are they you? Wow.
Material's got legal in it.
So very quickly, oh look at this. You know, from having nothing, suddenly you have an abundance.
Just how we roll.
Yeah, you are on a roll, aren't you? Okay, so let us start on this side. And can you tell us the name of your community and what forms your community?
We are Sunshine Community, and we formed on hopes and dreams and aspirations and beautiful things.
Yeah, just loving our lives and playing lots of fun games, you know, looking for memories. We don't know what we can fill them with, writing new chapters of our lives, that kind of thing. Yeah, looking up.
And you're bright and sunny
Sunshine,
and
yeah.
bring light into dark places. Wonderful. Okay, this community over here. Anita, please step forward.
So we are blooming blues. So we have blooming flowers, and our community has lots of aspects, but they are in moderation. So we have alcohol, but it's not a problem. It's more like a dissolution. We have a bit of money, but not greedy, but necessary amount. Yeah, so we are about growth and blooming.
And recognising two sides to everything, because blooming can be good, but in Ireland blooming is also, of course, an old-fashioned course. So if you don't want to say something very strong, you say it's blooming is great.
Okay. So it's an expressive community as well.
Yeah.
And over to this marvellous community.
Make tea, not war.
Hey!
And it's green tea.
It is
The
green
tea
tea.
is
We're
brown, but it's called green because we're green and brown tea.
green and brown, which is very tree and growth and
Yeah.
organic. And yes, our motto is, our name is Leaf It Out.
Wow.
And
It's all about the puns.
And can we just expression catapult, please?
That's the war.
Make tea, not war.
Make tea, not war. Was kind of
Okay. But it's still
But it's there,
It's
just in case.
Yeah, just in case it's there. Okay.
you know, we need to fend off any bloomers or overwhelming sunshine.
Right, so now we're going to actually move on to the playing of the Glossopoly game. And you have your tokens which you can move around the board. But in the great tradition of Glossopoly, you all have to start on go. Because go is the thing. No, just stay over there for a minute. We'll go in order. Calm down. Let's have this group come over first. And
Oh, to become an staff as well.
yeah.
Oh my God.
So you can stand on your goats as well. So go is a really important part of starting anything, isn't it? We know that go is the start of the Glossopoly game, but also to actually go means to get into action. It's not about kind of standing still. So do you have to roll 1 or 2 dice to begin?
No, 2 dice. We'll start with this group.
Yeah, we'll let them start. Okay. So whichever way you want to go, 3, 2, 1, roll!
Oh, nice.
7. So move your markers 7 spaces.
So somebody else likes to help.
Alright.
Ooh, it's gone Martin.
Okay, so Glossopoly is emerged as a game which is about getting people to interact with other people's views about community. So, and it's sort of based on a research project which was about Glossop, and we were looking at 3 themes. Sort of emotion, how people feel about place and community. Place, the role of the sort of physical structure of places and how people connect to places. And the third thing is very much about connection, both connections with place, but connections with other people, connections with other places. So we might live in a much more mobile, globalised world than maybe places that we need community. So we have, as you go around the game, you will engage with some of the words and some pictures about Glossop. So you'll get a card. So you've landed on C, so that's connection. So you need to read the card, and then there'll be a question at the bottom, and then you figure out and give us your answer. You want to read it out? Somebody?
The nature of incomers is that a lot of them are working in Manchester and professional, and they have chosen Glossop because it's in the country, and I think because they want to engage with the community. Commuters come with this expectation that they will engage and do. So you've got that new blood, if you like.
Do incomers commuters come with an expectation to engage? Is this expectation recognised or realised?
Give you a little bit of time to have a think about that, and then tell us the answer.
Alright, so do you want to leave your token, take your card, go back over to your space, and you can have a chat about that while the next group come and roll theirs, okay?
It obviously doesn't have to be about Glossop, right?
No, it's about
there, so it needs to be
answer
about
the question. Yeah.
Alright, so this next team are ready to roll the dice.
There we go.
Maybe like in this room. That's it.
All the way
Sorry?
What about you? We're in the police station. Reporting a crime. Reporting a crime. So do you think
I like
having an
it
open
very much control and the fact express
Okay, big loud voice.
what is your worst experience of community?
So do you think that was Brighton one? Because it's a really cool place.
Right, sunny community, so you might have to do things like that.
And I enjoy myself there.
How would you like to grab the things? Because you can roll them.
Or
do you want to
I think
So if they're on the same thing, what happens?
It's a C, isn't it?
Friends of mine just Brighton because they
So big loud voice to read it out.
Okay, no one has considered the fact that there's only 2 main roads
Actually, yeah, they moved there.
Why can't they
in the game. Exactly.
So it's something that they really recognise, didn't we?
Swansea, where I am. I don't think we at all. I think they can to go to university. Actually, all over the England of cities, Swansea, because they really like it as a city because it's got, especially it's on
Okay, so go back.
it's a very amazing pictures. It's got a good town centre, not the most brilliant of shops, but it's got a really good nightlife. Bring it out.
That's it, everybody, back to your tokens, your markers, and be prepared to tell us a story. So if we can all just stand, we don't need to go and squeeze it, stand back on your edges. Okay, so back on the edge so that we can all hear everybody. So Ola, your group can come around to you. I know your token's over, you can still stand on this this end here. Right, so your group were the ones that rolled first. So just remind us very quickly of what the discussion was, and then tell us what you come up with.
Okay. The nature of incomers is that a lot of them are working in Manchester, professional, and they have chosen Glossop because it's in the country. And I think because they want to engage with the community, commuters come with this expectation that they are going to engage and do so. So you've got that new blood, if you like. And our question was, do incomers, commuters, come with an expectation to engage? Is this expectation recognised or realised? And our answer is yes.
We've got lots of different experiences, but I was talking about Swansea and the fact that the incomers from Swansea are different groups. So we have sort of different ethnic groups that come and settle in Swansea, and they create their own communities. They've also created this brilliant part of Swansea that's now, you know, you can buy the most amazing fruit and veg and spices and foods and stuff. But at the same time, I think they came with expectations of engagement with other members of that community, because these groups tend to come from specific regions, you know, so we have a lot of Bangladeshi community. We have a quite big Bangladesh, but they all come from basically one particular region in Bangladesh, and they've all come. So their expectation is they know what they're coming for. They've got mates and family there already, and they're going to work in this field. So I don't. They've got a limited idea of engagement, but yeah, sometimes that engagement is tricky. But the other one is. The university, massive university city, I don't think any of the students come intending to engage at all. They just come to the campus, you know. But I think a lot of them end up staying in Swansea because they really like the lifestyle. You know, it's very much a nightlife and beach life city, and people like that a lot. And that's, yeah. Throwing to somebody else.
But you guys were right, really, when you were saying that people moved there because they knew there was a very welcoming gay and the gay community and things like that, so that people went specifically to engage with that culture and that's already existing, or at least perceived how. I don't know what it is, but you might have you did that. But so we talked about that. Yes, good.
So that's interesting, really. It's a bit like the idea, you know, the Brighton story, that there's this story that's grown up around Brighton, that people who've never actually been there think, yeah, that's a place to go to. And do you think when they get to Brighton, does it live up to their expectation?
I can't answer that, but I had a fascinating conversation with someone earlier who does work with a group that works with people from the LGBT communities who do not feel a part of the community.
So actually the answer to the question is yes and no. What's really nice is that rather than being simplistic in the kind of answering those questions, is that you can begin to share examples of where it does connect and engage, and actually go a bit deeper and think that's not a true story in every kind of quarter. So that's great. Okay, this community was next, weren't you?
We shared very personal stories, so I don't think we can actually give a full account of these kind of examples, but I think one example was about how community that's kind of linked to neighborhood can be a very negative experience when neighbors take advantage of one's generosity and they take it for granted, and when it's their turn to put something into the relationship, it doesn't happen. And another story was even more personal in the sense that what you think is your personal community through your extended family, you know, if something happens and it's not your fault, they drop you.
Actually, they both of these stories had trauma. Whether or not that was a huge trauma or something that was happening you knew it was going to pass soon. And then within that trauma, the connections and the community just dropped them. So those two stories that we had both suffered problems, didn't they? And then the outside communities that you would have expected to kind of go, oh, don't worry, everything will be okay, I'll help, it's fine, and or whatever, just disappeared completely.
So just for everybody else, the question that you had, they landed in jail, by the way.
Well, very visiting.
We were just, yeah, literally with no
For a night.
And it's, what is your worst experience of community? So,
Can I just add something to that? Because it was horrific, the stories. Certainly, the story that I shared was quite traumatic, but not to be the whole sort of put it rose-tinted glasses at the end. What comes out of worst experiences, I've discovered through the thing that I was talking about, is the community that you weren't expecting to be there in the end that kind of rallies around you. So the whole idea of really bad experiences still being for a reason of bringing about facilitating something positive, I guess, if you can get through it, is something which was really powerful for me.
And also the personal learning, that's something you, once the time passes, you can reflect on it and you think, well, what have I learned? How have I changed? And how will I be in the future? So there was positive outcomes at the end of these two negative stories about worst experiences. But they were very personal and they were shared with a lot of emotion with the group.
so I mean, what I gathered from it is the idea that the expectation that you have of community, whether that's family or your kind of geographical or connected community, sometimes just doesn't live up to the expectation, it lets you down. And then what you're saying is that can sometimes be replaced with a whole new community where you hadn't even thought that you might be able to get kind of some kind of support from. Okay.
How my place's location close to border of another area affect the development of the community relations?
Okay, so when a border that exists on the edges of other communities, how does that affect community relations? Go on then.
Well, yeah, we talked about a bit about Stoke, which is made up, it doesn't need to be one city. It's made up more. It seems like the 6 towers with ring roads around them, and it's 100 years since they were federated into a city. But then 50 years after that, the council built ring roads around each of the towns, so they symbolically separated them again. So it keeps everybody in their place. But then you have a look.
Yeah, well, and you're in just 10 miles from Glossop, don't you? You're talking about mountains and how geography can disrupt.
It's quite interesting, to Hilly area that makes the community close, but also it's very close to Manchester, which makes people migrate quite a lot.
And then I was thinking about the town I grew up in. It's right on the border of North Wales, and it's just in Shropshire. But it's a border market town. You can actually walk to Wales from my mum's house. It's about a mile. And so what you find is that it's just a town full of Welsh people who don't really like the English, but they're working, they're living there. Maybe they've married in prison, which is good. And I remember, being 18, 19 and going to the pub, and all you could hear is, people moaning about the English. And I was like, well, I don't like it, just walk a mile. And, but I think it does cause, I don't know, this is a kind of mixing rather than the boundaries.
So you made a lovely point that you do. So you said issues of identity become more important when you're on borderlines. Because you have the same experience up in Scotland as well. You're in Edinburgh, but you're not in Edinburgh. So you're in two places at the one time kind of thing.
See, and like my mum, she's really Welsh, but she comes from mid Wales. But now she'll start to moan about it because she thinks that she's got quite a good life in, just on the border of England. She's in England, and she's like, well, that's the Welsh for you. And then the next one she's like, but I'm Welsh through and through. And I think it causes an identity crisis of not, it's a weird place. And the village I live in now, I've been there about a year, and it's a really tiny village, and it's just on the border of Edinburgh. Well, it's about 10 miles from Edinburgh, so you can commute to Edinburgh or Glasgow. And it's just in the process of exploding. The villages, they're building about 3,000 houses just from scratch. Like developers have come in and they're not knocking anywhere down, which is good. It's not regeneration, it's just building, and it's just causing huge tensions in the community about who the incomers will be, who's going to get those houses, what facilities are going to get, how's the doctor says you're going to cope with 3,000 more family, I'm on the community council, so I get to hear all of these anxieties.
So, I mean, I think that idea of identity is just so important as well. So that very first exercise, and I know there's a kind of a slight one, you're now a newly formed community, create your specific identity and who you're about. It's kind of crucial, and I think that you're right, that when communities rub up against each other, those things become much more magnified. And I think it also relates to the comments being made here about, you know, you were saying that in Swansea there's quite an established Bangladeshi community. So people who come to join that, come join the Bangladeshi Swansea community. So within a community there's another kind of quite strong identified community. And that could cause, you know, if somebody's coming, actually, I don't want to be referred to as the Bangladeshi community because I'm more than that identity. I want to be able to kind of step beyond those kind of constraints, really. And that relates to here. Because if a community expects you to be a very particular way of being part of that community and you want to go beyond there, then actually that causes tensions, doesn't it? It's like, if you're a Liverpool fan and you're going out with somebody who's an Everton fan, well, who knows what could happen. Right, so it's time for the next round of the game. And let's see what we can take with us from each of these different parts. So, don't forget where you've been and the discussions you've had, and see how you can take those ideas with you. So this group, if you want to roll your dice, well,
Should we change the order slightly because then we were left there last time?
okay then, the last group wants to go first. Go.
Because she was in the last.
Yeah.
No, it's because we have only like 2 minutes.
I know.
Okay. Now, for everybody to know this next question is going to be answered through the idea of a picture of health. So, wherever your frames are, you will answer the question by creating in your frames. This group here, you have a whole box of frames that you can use, and the other two groups will answer the question by filling these frames with your answers, but by kind of creating a picture rather than just talking about the answer. So big loud voice so that everybody can hear.
The park is a really lovely place to go for all ages. So you'll get people going bowling there, and we'll take our grandchild to go there on the swings and things. There's a train, you can have a walk around, and it's a nice place to visit. Community House at Bradbury Hill is still somewhere where people can go to. The library is moving out of the town hall, but that's a good place to be. There's quite a lot of churches. Our local church is important to us. We have a lot. And the question is, are public spaces central to the formation of communities? What might be the impact of austerity measures on such places, brackets, and on communities?
Okay.
So this is a health one.
Well, just answer it via the idea of what kind of health does that community experience, and think about the question there in terms of the emotional well-being, not necessarily just the physical health, but the emotional kind of connectiveness that community might have. I'm going to ask you just to wait while other people throw, because there might be scrambling for resources. So the next group, can you roll? So yeah, I know Juliana, you were thinking, but I think the point you made is that everybody has the same amount of time then, and we all know what the question is. Okay, do you want to roll yours and then get your card so you can be ready to read it out?
it?
No. Yeah, you're
Yes.
right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
So
What is it?
it's page 1.
It's a Gamesley Library.
Can you just lift it up and tell us where it is?
Pink.
Yeah, it's the library.
Well remembered. I've played this game a few times now. Okay, so can you read yours out and then...
There's a set of houses they want to build, and the fear is that if we give permission to those on it, it could mean that more and more development happens, and that means that Hatfield then becomes part of Dinsdale, then becomes part of Glossop. Whereas at the moment, you've got the green belts, and that keeps them very separate. The problem with the way they build them houses is it sort of means Hatfield and Hatfield are getting closer together. The bridge between these sort of acts as a boundary, which is a good thing, and that's a good reason for the railway line. The railway line does act as a barrier to make sure Hatfield does retain its own separate community, and Rockfields as well as enhances that. And underneath it, it says boundaries appear to be important to people's sense of community. What boundaries are important within your communities, and why are they important?
Okay, so again, this is being focused through the idea of emotional health and well-being. And you're going to create the picture of that health in the frames. Okay.
The county council has decided that it needs to ration library provision, as this library is amongst the most costly to maintain given its small size. It is therefore proposing to close the library and transfer the property to your community group to run on the basis that you develop it for community and educational use, or can come up with a plan for increasing library use. Please present a case for how you will develop this site for one or other use.
Okay,
So that's whether you want it as a library or you want it for some other community use.
A bordello.
And if you want to use it, and you get it, and you make people go.
Yeah. So you have to justify. So 3, 2, 1. Get going. Create in the frames, in your boundaries of these frames, and you have got 10 minutes to do that. Ready?
Make it like a bookshelf.
I think what would be very nice is if we go and visit each group. So who was the first group to roll the game? So if we can walk across this community and come and visit here and have a good look and take it in. And if you wouldn't mind just reminding us of what was the kind of question here, what was the statement?
Are public spaces central to the formation of communities? What might be the impact of austerity measures on such places or communities?
Alright, so talk us through your picture of the emotional health of this community.
So, we thought about public spaces and what they are. So, we have a calendar of diversity. So everyone is coming together in a public space. It's a place where people mix. Even if they don't have any particular activities, it's a place where people mix. But we have old and the young people coming together. And picnics happening, games being played, different types of games. That's our park. And it's making community room, but also there is a threat. There are things that are happening in a public space because it's open. There is room for negative behavior as well, which cause a threat to a public space as such, because many public spaces are being privatized, and that's a threat. So the place might be closed, and those things might stop happening. But it is pretty crucial, even though there is a threat that negative things might happen. It's a good place for people to do things together, and that brings communities together, public spaces. Sorry, there is a mirror for our community as well, which a public space reflects, shows what this community about. So if there is a established community where people can come together and play and everyone comes together, in public spaces will be shown. And if community doesn't work very well, in public space it will be visible as well.
Anyone want to add something to this picture or the explanation of how you chose things and what things might represent?
I think clearly articulated everything. It was really this idea that in a genuine public space, anything can happen, and it's a site of nothing happening, something good happening, something bad happening. And with the privatisation of lots of public spaces like shopping centres and city centres where private money and corporations are coming in, the possibility of endless things happening is prescribed because, you know, youths with hoodies are moved along, homeless spikes are put into the ground just to prevent the wrong kind of community gathering. So when councils have no money to keep public spaces open, an easy option is to privatise them and give them to for-profit ventures to look after. And so that's our big austerity threat, all that money hanging over public areas.
And thank you very much. Can we come over to this beauty now?
Boundaries appear to be important in the sense of community. What boundaries are important within your piece and why they're important? We're looking at this within mental health and well-being. So here we're talking about people building on green belt land. So the green belt land is somewhere where you can go and you exercise, and it's lovely to go and have a walk around and feel more relaxed, and really well-being comes from being free of nature and beautiful things. So the closure of the green belt land, we've got our red tape across there, which is stopping people from doing that. And we've got communities communicating with council and people building. If there's a problem with communicating, it's going to cause you stress. People don't feel like they're being listened to, and they can't express that, which then causes mental health problems. We've got so when they've got more houses built on your green belt land, what will happen to schooling and education? With more children going to the schools, what will happen there? Okay, so that's that. Do you want to explain?
Yeah, and again, just with that's the whole idea that, you know, it kind of all feeds in, I guess, quite holistic, the whole idea of health and mental well-being as well. Knock-on effect is, I guess you can resort to kind of, you know, bad coping, maladaptive coping mechanisms, and, you know, this is kind of quite a dark little noose, and kind of the idea of being trapped in your mind, or not being able to just reach out and help and see someone, or having a conversation. Again, it's the strain of services, because of all these influx of people, money's not going to be there necessarily, the service is not going to be there to allow these people to get access, and so really money then becomes a boundary as well, because it creates a bigger, exacerbates inequalities even more, the haves and the have-nots. So here's out of the corner of wealth, and money is really a boundary here, because if you have it, then you can pay for private therapists to deal with your mental well-being, you know, or you can pay for private health care, or you go to your dentist and all the rest. But if you don't have the money, well then you're trapped. You know, you're trapped, and it goes back to this decision factor. And this here again is saying, well, honeypots, and the idea that if you don't have money, you just eat bad food, you'll have a poor diet, you won't even know how to educate yourself in terms of, you know, eating the right foods. And there's a scroll which represents the knowledge that you need in order to kind of have that holistic well-being. And yeah, there's the food. And anything else that you want to add into it?
Really powerful. When he stood behind, explained that actually there's that kind of physical barrier as well, to really emphasise that kind of the boundaries, the things that prevent. Very interesting take on the question as well, because you could see the boundary as, I mean, we started with that boundary in space, didn't we? But then it didn't simply end up just being about physical space. It's about how the rubbing away of those kind of spaces that people can be in causes this. And it really very central there as well, that public, you know, the public space being built on or brought up and stopping from being kind of public environment in the effective.
So as you said, we kind of think about the idea of thinking in silos, like you're trying to fix 8 parts of the problem. You know, you look at alcohol, you look at food, you look at different bits of mental health and isolation, but really, they're all linked together. community is really the thing that can bring support here to people apart. So actually, when it's think breaking away from your silos a bit more.
Okay, let us travel over to this community over here. So it's nice to visit different parts of the community. If we start to see the things that you've created as being different aspects of one single community, then how these issues might relate and connect. Okay.
No, go ahead. You start.
All right. Well, we've been invited here to present a case for how we would develop this site for one or other use. And any issues to do with resources and so on are in a completely different presentation. Having said that, we realised that there are certain functions from a library that are particularly useful. The main assets of a library are its books, its staff with their expertise, the space where people come together, the heritage elements that they hold in there, and there was something else. So yes, community services like internets and stuff like that. So we thought, well, what else is there in the community that people want possibly to use? And these frames tell different little stories, but the most important part is the web that extends out, not just from the connection of all these little ideas, which we will visit in a moment, but also into the community to allow a whole range of other services to be brought to you and facilitated by this new central space that we'll call the library. Would anyone like to pick a frame and share its meaning with our lovely
The
attendees?
middle frame is about sharing, which kind of leads on quite nicely from more sharing. So we thought actually it's things like Glossop, so it might be a small library, which means maybe the selection of books isn't so great, but if some people order loads of books off Amazon or bookshops or Christmas and they've read them and they want them, they could take them to the library and swap them, and people could do a swap that way, which would keep your supply of books fresh, so it would encourage more people in. We also had knowledge share, so the screwdriver represents knowledge share when you were talking about, is it Hong Kong?
There's a little story behind it. There's a story behind some of these things. I'll share with you the one about the screwdriver. Now, in Hong Kong, apparently, the community police out there travel around on little motor scooters, but they all carry toolkits in the back of their motorbikes. And what they do, what their job is to enforce the law for sure, but part of their job is to fix things. So they go around to little communities and repair whatever needs repairing as far as they can. This makes them immensely popular and very well respected. So with that in mind, we thought, what are the sorts of things that people need? Such as knowledge about how to fix things, experts' advice, maybe even contacts to people who can give them tips around that, and affordable services that they may wish to buy. Other stories are in there. Would you like to tell a story?
Also, we were talking about banks, different sorts of banks that could be held by this library place. So that you might have a toolkit bank, which has stuff that quite a lot of people can't afford to buy, or that you only use once in a blue moon, but somebody's got one, so rather than everybody having to have one each. So like a lawnmower, a strimmer, a laminator, that kind of stuff, badge maker. You know, the knowledge doesn't have to be held in the library. The knowledge of where you can borrow one is held in the library. Also, seed banks, plant swaps, and that kind of stuff that can be shared. And the library would be the place where you came to get the knowledge to share. What else have we got?
I have to
go have a toy.
When my child was a lot younger, I used to go to the toy library a lot, which had a soft play area and toys that we could borrow that I'd never be able to buy. Now that I have become an older child in my own right, I quite like playing games, and there's a group of people that occasionally I'll meet up with and we can play games. So where they come from, how we can contact them, the games that we could possibly use for that, as well as the contacts to bring into new game communities, could well be a nice little niche within this library. Because
there's this cafe, community cafe, and where's my toilets? There. I think they're absolutely crucial to a community. There are so many people that need an excuse to go into somewhere to meet up with people. You've got a cafe, community cafe in your library. You can be there to look at books and also to just bump into people and have a friendly chat and make contact. So many people don't have a reason to make contact because they no longer work or attend clubs or anything. And a lot of people will only be able to leave their house for any time if they know that there's a toilet that's accessible, whether you're pregnant, whether you're ill, whether you just your kids don't need a wee up. Yes, there's that whole safety net in knowing there's a public toilet. That's mine.
And hence it's not like a business element, but so we think actually maybe we could have like a course or something, or someone from the local chamber of commerce or something like that, so that this, if you think, yeah, I've got a brilliant idea for a business, and you can go, oh, actually they'll know about it, or there's someone we can speak to there, or they'll know how to put it in on that. We kind of went library or community centre, why not with
We cheated.
Two more very quickly. One is, who am I? Who am I, if not the nephew of my Aunt Ethel and her historic job as a spy in the Second World War? Now that's something I don't want to lose. And that's something that's a part of the foundation of my identity and the foundation of the identity of the people in this lovely village that I love being a part of. And if I may, this little box here, sorry, did you want to?
No.
You may.
No,
This
no.
box here contains pretty much absolutely everything and anything else that people may bring along that will be part of this community exchange.
unknown skills box?
Oh, right.
There we go. So if you'd like to give us some money for this.
I think should we give them the funding to keep hold of this library? What do you reckon? And so actually it's really fun, the idea of a library. It's sort of things that you can take out of it or go and find, and it doesn't just have to be a book. Actually a library is a place that contains all kinds of treasures, including the heritage of the community which people can add to. And is the net attached to the tree deliberately? Or?
Oh yes.
Yeah. Of course. That's to be discovered. Okay, right, so we're on to another round. How are we doing for time, Martin?
It's
We have one more round and then we
25
need to go to the...
One more round,
Yeah.
okay. So, okay, and this next round actually leads us quite nicely to the tree. So wherever it is that you land, you're going to relate the question to the tree of life, and to give the story of the community to this tree, to add to it in some form or other. Our favourite form, we did a haiku yesterday in the workshop, but we'll do San Juan in this workshop, and everybody in each of your teams knows how that works. But again, rather than it just being about the words, you've all kind of put objects into your frames and into the story so far. I'd like the San Juan to be related to the question that you've got, but also to choose a particular key object and how that relates as well. Okay, so we're going to throw first. We're a bit shy for the Okay, off we go then.
We landed on free parking, we get lots of money.
Unfortunately, you have to choose either a place, connection, or emotion.
Emotion, yeah.
Okay, so remember, your task will be to find the objects, read out for us, and then to create the San Juan, which you will perform, which you will present, okay? So read us the question.
It's the feeling that wherever you go, you feel comfortable. You just feel that people still matter here to each other. You don't feel isolated. You feel very much that people would come to my assistance, and you know, if I was having some trouble. But maybe that's just me being a little naive, but I'd like to think so. People we know would birds are robbing you. I still think there's a kind of core value that makes Glossop folk. You're not going to do that here. You might do it somewhere else, but you're not going to do it here. What feelings or emotions do you associate with the word community?
Okay. Right. So again, find the objects in your group and write the San Juan or wait so that everybody has the same time. Next group, throw your dice.
Whilst you're throwing the dice, forgive my ignorance. What is the San Juan?
Throw the dice. Oh, San Juan. Okay. I'm going to let Rachel explain, but I will explain. The San Juan is a 5-line poem.
I guess
it has, the first line has one word, which is the description, the title, but it's only a one-word title. The second line has 2 words, which describe the title, describe the first word. The third line has 3 words, which are the emotional connections with the title word. The fourth line has 4 words, and each of those are actions, so things that are done which connect with the title. And the 5th line has 1 word, which is an alternative word for the title. So it's a very, very quick sort of way of bringing all of those thoughts together within a nice literal frame. Okay, you're going to throw. Ooh, 11.
What are we doing?
We're waiting for our
Cool. We've got commuters.
I've got commuters.
Each of it.
Are we reading it out, yes?
Yeah.
You've got commuters who are choosing to come to Glossop, so they're self-selecting it. We're choosing to come here because they're looking for a community, or they're looking for countryside, or they're looking for something. So I think they're willing to engage. So you get a bit of new blood. If I think about the artists and the musicians, you know, I have to think hard, but they're representative of both incomers and residents of Glossop. Do people who have migrated into a place have a greater attachment to its community over the people born and bred in the area because they have self-consciously chosen to live there?
Okay, final group. Spades. Oh, nearly got a double. Frustration.
Would you say it if the population was
Really round the country. All kinds of actors.
Yes. People sit in the same seat on the train every day, same people every day, same spot. People are quite possessive about it and need their own space, but they don't speak to anybody. By and large, they keep themselves to themselves. And the question, does commuting spell the end of community, or can there be a community of commuters?
Very good. Okay, so 3, 2, 1. You have to choose an object which really kind of connects to this question. An object that you've already got within your kind of frames and things. And then write a San Juan and be ready to perform it. So you've got 3 minutes. So are we standing by our sides ready to answer our questions? Yes. Okay, go. Standing over there first.
Oh, yeah. So it's about commuting, so it's commuting the community.
Is commuting the end of community?
Yeah. Or can there be a community of commuters? Okay. So our Sanquan is commuters. Oh. And then, every day, bored, strained, disconnected, repeat, boring, switch off, working, and workers. And now what is the box? And what does the box represent?
Oh, it's a commuting carriage, and when you open it up, you see that your two little commuters compartmentalised. Because they fell over. But there they are now.
Okay, brilliant. I really like the fact that you just kept passing each other.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, over here. Was that a pose?
Yeah, our question was about do people migrated into a place have a greater attachment to its community over people born and bred in that place because they've chosen to live there?
Okay.
But we need to handle first. Can we? No.
Sorry, we're going to present this as a mime.
Should I just know?
Yeah.
Okay, unknown, many reasons, apprehensive, puzzled and excited, out, mingle, together, discover, finding. And our object is the frame, and it's an empty frame, because we decided that there were millions of different reasons why someone would move to an area. Whether it just be because it's cheap housing, closer to work, there's a nice school, they wanted a new garden, etc., etc. So this difference could be filled with anything because there's just so many reasons.
Okay, and I kind of quite like the emptiness of the frame because it means that it's not being pre-described. They don't have to fit into a picture that's already there. Actually, they can create their own story in that community. And unknown is great because if you didn't go there, you don't know what you might find.
No, I think we thought that most people don't move to be part of a specific community and therefore don't feel like they have that. You know, people move for so many different reasons and they're usually fairly apprehensive about what they're going to find when they get there.
Yes, and migration is always some kind of, let's go somewhere, isn't it? Whether for, if you happen to live in a London suburb and be on housing benefit, they decide you can't live in London anymore, you've got to move to Stoke because it's cheaper to pay for people to live in Stoke-on-Trent than London. So, okay. And the emotion group.
So what feelings or emotions do you associate with the word community?
So we kind of were going to go for something much more conceptual. So these could really apply to any community. These are the kind of some of the sentences that we reflect communities generally. So community, complex, dynamic, safe, fear, anger, act, share, think, play, belonging. What we have is an open book. Because we're effectively scripting it and we're learning as we go along. And we're starting off with blank pages, which we effectively fill as we figure things out together.
And I'm wondering whether a question mark could be on that belong here, the good addition, excuse me. Right, we're on very last day. So, can you go and fetch the pictures that you've got, that you've created first this morning, and place them anywhere on the Glossopoly board? Anywhere at all. It doesn't have to be around the edge, it can be in the middle. today by playing a game where we travelled around Glossop. So can you all start to go on another journey? And now Glossop has also got places from your own communities, all kinds of things. So have a walk around Glossop, and when I shout stop, everyone has to be in contact with the paper, not the board. So, does everybody get that? So go for a walk around Glossop, have a look at the new parts of the community that have been added. And as you pass by each other, then take hold of a hand and look at that person and make a connection with them. But you cannot let go of that person's hand until you make a connection with another person. And so as you're walking around, keep connecting. You go. Keep moving. And freeze. Freeze. Oh dear. Can you hold your hands up in the air? No, only the person who's not connected. Okay, just one person. If anybody's got hold of a hand, then you're okay. If you haven't, can you just hold up your hands? Is everybody connected? There we are, the HLC has successfully connected through community, which is great. Right. Have a listen. Everyone has to be in contact with the paper, not the board. Go. So if we were to have a quick look around this map, what kind of community have we got? Describe it. Neighbours, we've got neighbours here. And you have to be in contact with the paper, not the floor, so you need to get the right ones there. So, yeah, you have to actually be in contact with the paper, not the board. So, is this a connected community here? Yeah. So you're running around the lake. Yeah, and you can actually connect with each other. You could physically connect, couldn't you? So if you're physically connect, could you connect with this community over here?
Can we connect?
Yeah. Where did I go to move? No. Can you reach out? Is there a way of... so there is. There's a possibility of connecting. So you're all neighbours. Can you reach that community over there? Could you reach that community over there?
There's two now.
Are you going to face the edge of your paper?
Yeah. How about this community over here? So you can all connect to each other. That's marvellous. Right, off you go and travel around this new community. Stop! Everyone has to be in contact with the paper on the floor. Okay. Alright. Okay, so. Okay. Right, just relax a minute and describe to me now, in this region, how would you describe this kind of community now? So you've got a community that's very, very crowded.
Separated.
Yes, quite a separated community. Sorry? No, please say it.
Across the Glossop board.
Yeah, across the, so there is a void here in Glossop and two very distinct and separate communities. What do you think this community, when they look over there, what do they think about that community over there?
It's quite organised. There's two quite clean lines of three. From this angle it looks
They got more space than we
Yeah!
Oh, no, all space.
They're obviously richer with more space,
Yeah.
well organised.
And obviously they're very gender specific.
Yes.
Just freeze. So it's a very specific community which could be created around gender. So we do know that there are communities that are created around gender. In some communities, actually, there's quite a lot of separation between the genders for all kinds of reasons. How connected are they?
Not
They're all facing in the same direction.
They're all don't do that. Yeah, well, so, they're all facing the same direction, somebody was saying. So do you think does that mean they have a sense of purpose and where they're going, what they want?
They want to invade over here.
Oh, so you're under threat. So they're all facing in a particular way. You said they're organised.
But also they can't all see, they're like everybody. Yeah, okay, yeah. They're facing this way.
I just say my feet are pointing at an angle.
Oh, so she's posing this way.
My shoulder is
It's a bit cramped.
Oh, you were holding on to each other. So, can you go, before I said relax, can you make the image that you were in the first time? Right. Yes, okay. So actually really kind of holding on to each other. How would you describe this community then? Cooperating, yeah.
It's actually
Okay. On the edge, you say. No, they're emotional, they're connected, they're on the edge. Are they a connected communities? Yeah, they're kind of holding on. How easy would it be for you to join this community? Would you want to join this community? No. Can you make the original image that you were in? Actually, go on, make it, yeah?
That looks like I don't really know.
No, they were. I'll be honest, this is what they were like.
Before
Juliana ran in last.
Yeah.
So go on,
It's actually like this.
Okay. But, so actually,
Yeah, but it's like it's a connected kind of thing. Quite close to you, they're your neighbours.
but you can, there is separation there. So, what do you think this community thinks, that community? Okay, freeze. This community, how do you feel about all of these other communities that you're kind of connected with? They're in your vision, but you're not really connected. Tell me. Well, they're having a vision. We can actually see how much space we've got over there. So you're unaware then, actually. You don't know very much about this other community. About you. Yeah, see properly everyone. So, yeah. So that's not on the radar. What about this group? Okay, not relaxed, do you? So does this make you feel like connecting with them? So would it be easy for you to join them? No, it looks full. It looks full, and they've got their backs to you, and their shoulders away. So you come over with
And these guys look like they want to.
Yeah, they want to expand, don't they? Okay, one last journey around. Again, if you pass by somebody, make a connection with them. Everyone has to be in contact with this community and not the board. Go.
And not the board.
Okay, now because the floor is in contact with the board, it's a good thing. You've all emigrated, you've all left your original place, you've all disappeared somewhere else.
So we can live comfortably together.
But this is still connected with the board because you're still in contact via this carpet with your board.
Let's try.
Right, come on, next slide. Right, so
I don't
Stick it on the window? Touch the window maybe?
What would you do with your...
We'll sit on the table.
Yeah, but the table is, it's like the moon. You can't get to the moon just yet. So you're nearly there. Are you all in contact with that community?
Do we have to jump?
Well, let's try. Okay.
1, 2, 3.
And just for a split second, you were all in contact with the community and not the floor. And to sum up, apparently it is said that if all the people in China all coordinated to jump at the same time, it would actually shift the earth on its axis. It would make such a big difference. So this... But to conclude with, actually, if everybody is connected with one kind of little moment of action together, you can really change what happens in the community. So thank you very much for playing the game.